talk about the recent protest. 2,000 protesters demanding to see the president over their dismissal in 2015. Tell us what really happened.
The truth of the matter is that in 2014, immigration attempted to carry out a recruitment. It went wrong because we allowed all manners of people in the stadium to attend the interview, which led to loss of almost 15 lives. Many people were injured. The then president, Goodluck Jonathan, constituted a committee. The committee was to assist, these words are very important, to assist the Civil Defense, Immigration and Prison Fire Service Board so that they could organize a better recruitment system. Unfortunately, the same committee constituted itself to recruitment committee. They went and recruited 2,000 through the help of a consultant.
Without the knowledge of the immigration service?
Not even immigration, we are just minor issues in the case. Without the knowledge of the board. We have an act of the board. The board is the only constituted organization to recruit immigration officers, fire officers, prison officers, civil defense officers. So the board was not even involved at all. They went ahead and recruited. So the board refused to issue letters to them.
But the NIS issued letters, actual letters to some of them, isn't it?
Yes, the then leadership was a member of the committee, issued some letters to junior officers, but the board refused to issue for senior officers. There was conflict between the NIS and the board because the board was the one that had the right to issue. It was because of that disciplinary action were taken, and my predecessor was suspended. Eventually, he was retired. It had to do with this. But the fact of the matter is that there was no approval from the board. It doesn't make it legally recruitment.
Now, how did this really happen? I'm sure there are rules and statutory laws guiding the recruitment process, and this was really overlooked, and such that we have this great controversy happening at the moment.
Well, it's a history now. It is now a history, but it is because that the dispute was made between institutions or individuals that the present administration of General Muhammadu Buhari said, look into the case. Even though they were not given the right document, even though they were not legally employed, look into the case, screen them. If they are qualified, take them. That has been fair enough.
So let's understand again. You said the board did not approve those employments in the first place. Is that what you said?
Exactly. After the 2014 failed recruitment, a committee was constituted by the then president to advise, to assist the board to recruit. That committee didn't talk to the board.
So when you were asked to assist, was it without the notice of the board?
Yeah, that to assist the board to do it in a proper way. The board, which is in the Ministry of Interior. But the presidential committee out there didn't invite anybody. They went ahead and recruited. That recruitment was illegal, and the board refused to participate in it. That's why it was cancelled. The present administration cancelled the recruitment. Those who were recruited were dispersed, but they protested, they showed their complaint. I was mandated to talk to them. When we spoke with them, we saw their case that, look, you are a victim of circumstances. We wrote a memo to the board now. We didn't write to anybody, we wrote to the board. The board sat and approved that they should be screened before they are returned back to service.
So those disengaged, did any of them go through any form of training?
They started training. In short, when they were recruited by the then presidential committee, they were not even allowed to come to immigration offices. They were sent to various commands, and some of them were sent to training school to be trained. But they were dispersed because it was not legally done. Simple. They were in some command. They were not allowed even to be seen. So it was done secretly. They were not even allowed to be seen. They were sent to various commands to be doing training. Some of them had no letters at all. The fact of the matter is that they were not legally recruited, and they were dispersed. Now we're trying to put things in order by screening them and bringing them back to service. To screen them, we told them what we require. They will come in batches. We had already done the publication. They will come in batches. We'll start with the assistant superintendents. They will bring their original certificates. We will check to make sure the old certificates are original. We'll do drug tests. We'll make sure they're not drug addicts. We'll do security clearance like it is done for any law enforcement. We will also imply the age on rank. I think some of them are scared of drug, some of them are scared of certificates, but I think they have nothing to worry. If everything is okay with them, they will come back to service.
So how often do these officers, your officers, go through trainings or re-screening?
I have just done one this year.
How does it happen?
Initially, it has not been done, but it's been introduced by the board. My humble self underwent a screening of certificate.
It was recently introduced, was it?
Yes.
When was that?
We did it like 3 months ago, and still it's ongoing. For those who are serving, officers who are serving, we are still screening their certificates.
You mean the screening for engaged officers was recently introduced?
Yes, it was. It was introduced like 3 months ago by the board.
Because some of the applicants claim that they went through training of arms handling. Is that true?
No, not true. Not true.
So what is the criteria for engagement at the moment?
The criteria for employment into Nigerian Immigration Service as approved by the board, you have to undergo screening of your certificate. We will no longer employ people who have fake certificate. We will do a drug test. We will conduct a security clearance. And you have an age to come into the service. For first entry, like 24 years, you can enter. If you are 30, you cannot enter immigration service. We want you to patrol borders. We want you to carry arms. If you reach the age of 35, 60, or 40, you cannot. Unfortunately, in the olden days, people who are 40, they were recruited. And they spend only 20 years and retire. It doesn't make sense for the service. Now we have put age limit so that we employ elegant officers who can be able to do the job properly.
Now, we understand that this rescreening process is taking place because there's planned by the service to recruit members of the highly placed in the society.
Well, it's good to claim. Everybody has his right. But on our own side, as the Controller General of Immigration Services, I assure you that it is time for immigration to employ anybody who is qualified. I joined this service without knowing anybody. I'm proud. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know Lagos at that time, 85. If I were told to go to Lagos, I wouldn't have joined this service because I wouldn't know how to get to Lagos from Kano then. So it is my responsibility as the head of immigration service and as a head of parastatal appointed under this administration to ensure that justice and equity will be the basis of our employment. I assure you, for the first time, we will employ everybody based on his state of origin, qualification, not a nod from big men. That is the cause of indiscipline even in other services. When you employ people just because they know a senator, because they know a governor, because they know a chief, you can't get good result. I assure you the next employment we're going to do, it will be based on merit. This I assure you.
Now tell me, how many officers can you really take in for now?
Now we have 2,000 to screen. This is what I'm handling. I have no approval to employ any other person. This information is very important to Nigeria. I have received many calls that, look, we are going to be employed. Can you give us slot? I told them no slot for anybody. No slot for favors. We are screening these people. After screening, we'll allow employment based on merit and based on quota system as allowed by federal government.
Which brings me to this. You know, Nigeria's got extensive and porous borders. How well do you manage the situation? It's a huge challenge, I suppose. How do you go about this?
It's a challenge. Managing borders depends on a country. Every country has its strategy. A country with a huge land territory like Nigeria, with open borders in the north part of it, with mountainous borders in the eastern side of the country, will require an effective and a big strategy to man these borders. For us, it's a difficult task to do, even if we have men. It takes men, resources, and technology to do this.
Which you don't have.
Which is not very sufficient. Even the men are not sufficient. Even the resources are not sufficient. But I assure you, this administration is committed. I have seen it in this budget here. There is a commitment by federal government for us to invest in border because government knows the strategic role we play in terms of national security at the border. Government is investing in ICT, in purchase of patrol vehicles. We will also strengthen by building the men, training the men, equipping them efficiently so that they can patrol the borders. But I'm telling you, it's a difficult task without huge resources.
Well, hold on with your thoughts. We're still with the Comptroller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service, Mr. Muhammadu Babandede. Join us again after the break.